Hello there, creatives. Welcome back to the story scene. I am Shannon Valenzuela. If this is your first video, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. I can't wait to talk to you about these 3 easy tips on how to boost your creativity, how to fuel that creativity without really changing your habits, right? This is something that, we often think I need to make some massive shifts in what I'm doing. I shouldn't be on social media all the time. I shouldn't be watching YouTube videos. I shouldn't be doing fill in the blank, right? And we think, we're going to have to change everything about what we're doing in order to really take care of our creativity, right? This is the writing marathon training plan. We are talking about ways to improve your writing, your writing passion, and this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be just a really great way to kind of refill the tank. It's February, right? We kind of all need a little bit of refilling our tank and getting back into our creative mindset. So if you're new here, this is the story scene where we come together to help you create bold, brilliant, and beautiful stories. And I'm just, like I said, I'm so excited that you're here. So we are counting down to race day, right? We're almost done with the writing marathon training plan. And like any training plan, right, we have a race day that's coming up. And our race day, I've decided, because I saw these coming around the beginning of the year, and I thought that sounds super fun. It also sounds very scary and very challenging. And I personally have never done one of these, so I'm really looking forward to giving this a try. It's to write a feature in 14 days, right? And maybe y'all have seen this as well. You've seen these, the Instagram posts that have gone around, and there's a schedule and there's a way to get it done. And I thought, why not? Let's give it a try. And if you're sort of facing down, like, we're the middle of quarter 1, if writing a script was on your goals list for the year and you maybe feel like that's out of reach or out of, you're not going to get it done by, when you wanted to get it done, well, this is an opportunity maybe to jump back onto that goal and actually get it done. So I'm looking at doing this in March, which means that we'll have a finished feature draft by the end of quarter 1. And how exciting is that? If that is super exciting to you, I would love to hear what that would mean for your creative year, right? To be able to jump in to a new project, have a draft, have something ready to go, and be able to head into a rewrite in quarter 2. Just think about that. If you get the rewrite done in quarter 2, then you've got a finished script halfway through the year. How exciting is that? That is super exciting. That's very exciting to me. I hope it's exciting to you. And so if you're ready to try that, I'll be sending out some more information on that soon. So I just really hope that that's an exciting and encouraging sort of challenge, to head into. So um, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you do want in on the challenge, I'm planning out how to support you all through that journey, and what we can kind of talk about as we work through a first draft in 14 days, which is, a great chance. We've talked about silencing the inner editor as we work through drafting, the drafting process. And I think this is going to be, you have to, right? You can't do a 14-day challenge like this without, with having your inner editor kind of running wild. So this is going to be a great opportunity to put that aside and train ourselves, right? Put all the things we've been working on into practice. How to use, our long writing sessions to maximum effect, how to use those writing sprints really effectively, right? It's a great chance to put everything into practice that we've been working on. But before we can do a race like that, we got to fuel up, right? We need to make sure that our creativity is where it needs to be. We got to make sure our inspiration is where it needs to be. And so that brings me to the subject of today's video. And I promised it would be short and sweet. It's the lunchtime hour for, if you're here in the central United States. So, we want to keep it kind of like a snack here. We want to keep it short and sweet. So let's talk about some of the strategies that I've used in the past couple of years to really boost my own creativity. And it's about, again, like I said at the outset here, we're not looking to, get down on ourselves about how much time we spend on social media or, any of that. We're looking to leverage what we're doing already and just making a little tweak here and there to kind of make it work for us a little bit better. We're not talking about deprivation. We're not talking about, like I said, going on some kind of crazy social media fast, nothing like that. So without any further ado, let's see what we have. The first tip that I have to share with you today is to add some interest to your social media feeds. So if you're like me, right, you follow a lot of different people on social, and this one is a big game changer for me. When I kind of realized that I could use what I was already doing to just put myself where the stories were, and just kind of see what would happen, right? To see what would come across my feeds. And this was amazing, right? I was in a kind of a creative slump a few years ago, and I really needed to kind of do something. And I just added a few. It wasn't even a lot, right? I just picked a couple in my subject area, and I'm going to talk about a couple of different things here. So one is to use those, feeds that are in your subject matter area. So for example, if you write horror, you might follow some like ghost hunters feeds. You might follow, some like creepy locations feeds and things like that. Anything that's going to give you some inspiration, right? I write science fiction predominantly. So for me, I just added a few like science and technology feeds to my social. And, it basically was like a chance for me to see what was out there, right? What was current, what was happening, where were the stories, what was going on. So that was really a game changer. It kept me keyed in to the industries that are sort of form the background for a lot of what I write. But like I said, you can do this for any genre, right? You just pick your genre and figure out like where would you go to research if you were writing a story right now, and just like follow a few of those people, right? And then amazing things start to happen because you'll get every single day, you'll be seeing things that are relevant to the work that you want to do. And it's like you don't even have to work at it. It's there for you, right? It's like it's effortless. You're not changing your habits, you're not canceling, you're not ditching your social media feeds, you're not doing any of that. In fact, you're still doing all of those things. It's just that now mixed in with everybody else that you're kind of following. You happen to just be seeing things that are relevant to the work that you're doing. Okay, so that's one way to add interest to your feeds, is to follow people who are in your subject matter area. Yeah, like, oh, this is a great question here. Dan, what a great question. I'm just going to pop this on the screen real quick. He says, by feeds, do you mean podcasts or blogs or whatever works? Yes, to all of the above. Absolutely. Could be adding podcast, could be adding, a blog, could be on Instagram. That's predominantly where I do a lot of just, if I'm scrolling through things. Could be joining a Facebook group that's specific to your subject matter area. So yeah, go wherever you already are, just add one thing, to, like, if you are already a podcast listener, find a podcast that has to do with your subject area. There's some great ones out there that are super short and sweet and just give you like a little dose of like curiosity.com is one that I follow, for example, and their podcasts are like 5 minutes long, but they have like multiple stories, and it's really kind of a cool thing. So find something like that. So yeah, wherever you already are, that's where you want to look for just one or two additional things that would kind of amplify what you're doing, right? So we're not talking about changing your habits necessarily. We're just talking about adding something in to what you're already doing. So yeah, whatever works, wherever you already are, that's what you want to look at. That's a great question. Thank you for that. Okay, so that's one subject matter, what you already write in, what you would research if you were researching a story, just add it into your daily consumption, right? And just, you're not working at it. You're not looking for stories. You're not like freaking out. You're just there. If it happens to come across your screen, you're there, right? It's there for you. The other one, though, the other way of adding some interest to your feeds, and this is a favorite one of mine too, is to follow people who post inspiring images. This could be landscapes. This could be, adventurers, people who are like outdoors kind of people, who do amazing things and go to amazing corners of the world where you would never probably go. But the images are amazing and they're inspiring. I follow some storm chasers on Instagram, for example, and like I find storms to be terrifying, but also awe-inspiring and completely awesome. So like I just love looking at those kinds of images, and it just, I don't know, it's just inspiring. So find whatever images are super inspiring, to you. And again, it's wherever you already are. You're just kind of like adding some of that inspiration into what you're already doing. You can follow, again, like what you're looking for is, setting inspiration for a story. It's not that you're actively looking, you're not researching, you're not like, this is, you're on the clock for your writing session and you're like, you're scrolling the feed. No, 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 no. We're relaxed. We're taking our time. This is downtime, right? But if a cool setting that's inspiring comes across our feed, that's great, right? That's what we're here for. So find what inspires you as far as images are concerned, settings, things that give you a mood also, right? If you're like, yeah, you have a work in progress that you're kind of have going, and it has a certain feel to it, it has a certain mood to it. Maybe surround yourselves with some images that feel like that mood, right? You're kind of like giving yourself a mood board that you're in contact with. And again, it's not about working hard, it's just about filling your creative well, and finding that inspiration in sort of the midst of what you're already doing, as part of your downtime. I'd say the same thing for music, right? Inspiring music. And that's not necessarily, I suppose you could create like it would be like Spotify or Apple Music or like wherever you guys get your music. um Maybe changing up your playlist a little bit, or finding some music that seems like it really ties in, again, mood or some sort of a feel, something you're going for in the story that you're writing. Maybe just add a couple new songs to your playlist. It might change everything, you never know. So the basic bottom line here with this first tip is, we're not working at it. We're just putting ourselves in the way of inspiration. We're just letting it find us. We're just going to be there for it. But we're not changing up what we're already doing. We're not like, oh, I got to go and like add on something else. I've got to go like read a bunch of different things that I wasn't going to be doing anyway. Again, we're simplifying, we're keeping this completely without having to go and radically change what we're doing. Okay, so what about tip number two? This is directly related to tip number one, and it's that you need to have a way of saving the things that really intrigue and inspire you, right? We don't want to put ourselves in the way of inspiration and then like have it pass us by like a twig going down a stream, right? We want to grab hold of it if it's something that we really are excited by, and keep it, right? So make sure that whatever, you're doing, and again, this is not a whole lot of work, but it's like click that little save, flag on Instagram, or save the post on Facebook. Do something, catch it, bookmark it if it's a blog that you found really inspiring, right? So make sure that you have a way of capturing those things, right? So as I say, there's two kinds of inspiration that we're looking for here. There's the momentary like oasis, like, oh, that's such a relief, like I feel so much better about the world now because I've had this opportunity to kind of just relax and just find something that's nice and inspiring and sort of escape for a little while. And then there's the stay around for the rest of the story kind of inspiration, right? And we need both kinds. But what we're really concerned with here in tip number two is that second category, the stay around for the rest of the story. Find a way to capture, just click it to save it. But then at some point, maybe when you are actually sitting down for a writing session, you'll want to have a way of collecting and sorting those pieces of inspiration, right? So, for example, like I do a lot of that. Just save the post for right now. Just save it. That's really intriguing. I want to go back. I want to read that at some point. So I'll do a lot of saving it. But if it's something that I really want to use for my, for future stories and things like that, then I will go in and save it in Evernote. So that's just my own particular sorting strategy. And I'll just create a note in Evernote, and I'll title it, and I'll just drop the link right in there. But that way, when I go looking for, like, okay, I need to come up with my next list of concepts, I have like a huge list of things in Evernote that I can kind of pull from, right? So you want to have a place that's kind of centralized to put all of those ideas or those inspirational stories or images, so that you have easy access to them. And it doesn't have to be Evernote. It could be a Google Doc, right? You could just drop links into a Google Doc, or Google Sheets or something like that. You could use Word, you could use Scrivener, whatever you're already using to organize your writing. I would say go with that, and just, make sure that you have a way. It's kind of like in the old days, right? We used to clip newspaper articles and like store them in file folders and things like that. Think about this as being a similar thing. So you just need some sort of a digital file folder, way to store and sort and organize what you're coming across. Okay, so that's my tip number 2: saving the things that inspire you, capturing what comes your way. So that's, again, you're not necessarily, we're not changing up a lot of habits here. We're not trying to make things complicated, but we're making sure that we're catching those twigs as they flow past us on the stream. We're not gonna let them pass us by. We may not be doing anything with them right yet, but we want to kind of file it away, right? Basically. Okay. This last tip that I'm going to share with y'all is my favorite, and this is a new one for me, but I love this one. Okay, tip number 3: try the Write the Log Line challenge. This is awesome for so many reasons, right? First of all, how many of us need practice writing log lines, right? That one sentence description of the project, like everybody, right? Everybody needs practice writing log lines. They're so, so important. But they're scary and they're hard to write. They're hard to feel like you can do it well. And the best way to practice them is, of course, exactly that: to practice them, right? That's the way we get better at these things. But we tend to have a lot of resistance around them, and we can kind of say, like, oh, I'm garbage at writing log lines, I'm terrible. Okay, well, take all the stress out of it. This is a no stress way to practice, while also, right, getting your story creator brain engaged with the content that you're seeing, this inspirational stuff that you're seeing. Okay. So that is something to think about, right? We talked in our last session about sort of using Einstein's method of combinatory play to help engage our creative, process, right? To kind of make things easier, right? This is one of the recent sessions that we did, making it fun, right? So this is exactly that process. This is combinatory play with inspiration. This is taking an inspiring image, and saying, if I were going to write a story about this, what would it be about? Give it to me in a sentence, right? Just write it down in your writing notebook, right? Maybe save the image and put it in your Google Doc or put it in Evernote or whatever it is. But give it a try, right? Write the log line. That's the kind of thing that can unlock your brain. It's super fun. And the bonus is you now have a story idea, right? Whereas before, maybe it was just like, wow, that's really a cool image. That's a cool setting. Like, that would be a great place to have a story. Well, now you actually have an idea, right? So it kind of takes it to the next step. It's engaging a little bit more with, the writing side of your brain, the creative side of your brain. And you can find, there are some of the, like, the screenwriting coaching kinds of, sites and things like that on Instagram, that every once in a while they'll post these, like, this is your movie poster, like, write the log line, and so those are super fun. I think they're really fun, and you never know what you might come up with, as far as an idea goes. And again, it's not necessarily for right now. It's all in play. It's all in fun. It's supposed to be just a creative exercise. But you might come up with something awesome that you then want to further develop at a certain point down the line, right? Okay, so that's my favorite of the well, they're all favorites, but that one I think is awesome, and the way that it kind of brings together putting yourself in the way of inspiration and then taking it that one step further of actually, like, engaging your creative brain, but without the stress of, I need to write a log line because, so and so is asking me for the log line for this project. I need to pitch this. I need to do whatever. No, this is just fun. This is just for fun. We're just brainstorming. We're just coming up with story ideas just for for the future, or not, or whatever. We're just playing around with these different things that we're coming across. So giving that a try next time you see something that you think there's a story there. Okay, well, right then, just jot down whatever comes to your mind, right? Just without, without really missing a beat. Just, if you have a writing notebook, like a physical notebook, just jot it down there, type it up in a doc, whatever you want to do. But again, like I said, that's combinatory play. That is fueling up your creative well, because again, you are kind of engaging without the stress. You're just giving yourself, those additional ideas and things like that. So to kind of bring this, I promised a short and sweet session today. And so we are going to go ahead and wrap up for today. But the bottom line here is the key, I think, to really fueling up creativity is to figure out what you need to feel inspired. Like you better than anybody, and what gets you in the creative mindset, and what, when you start to feel depleted, you're like, oh man, I really should, I need some inspiration. I'm not feeling really creatively inspired right now. So find ways to fuel that. But the key, I think, to making it successful and making it sustainable is making it, in some ways, making it easy, right? It's kind of like, if you're on some sort of like exercise plan, like we've been using the writing marathon analogy here, or like a diet plan or something like that. One of the easiest ways to stick to that is to just make sure that you are surrounded by the things that sustain the habit, right? You have easy access to the gear you need to do your workout for the day. You stock your kitchen with like the healthy stuff. So you're like surrounded by it. And it makes it super easy to just grab and go because you don't have to like think about it, right? It's the same idea here. We're fueling up by surrounding ourselves with the things that give us that inspiration, right? And without having to work really hard. We're not engaging, like we're like the decision making part of your brain, we're not interested, right? We don't want to have an internal battle with ourselves over this stuff. We just want to fuel up, and we want to make sure that we're giving our creativity what it craves, right? What it needs. So yeah, that's the secret, right? Is to find out what your creative brain needs without getting that decision making part of your brain involved, the one that throws up roadblocks and the one that has all the objections, the inner critic, the inner, whatever you want to call it, that gets in the way sometimes of making these kinds of changes. So I hope those tips were really helpful for you. I hope you give some of those a try. And if you do, I would love to hear how it goes, which one you found like super helpful. And if you have any tips on sort of refilling the creative well that I didn't talk about today, definitely let me know. Like drop a comment on the video, share what works for you, because we're all here as a community supporting one another in the work of story creation. So definitely let us all know what you found works. And yeah, until next time. Oh, so next time we are going to start talking about how to sustain this over the long term, right? Okay, so we've been working on kind of building up some good habits along the way here in this writing marathon training plan. We're about to like head into, like I said, race day. But what do we do after the rush of all of that, right? How do we make this a sustainable habit? So next time we're going to talk a little bit more about training habits and making sure that all of those are, good to go and going to support you on the journey, right? So that's next time. And until then, I hope you have a great creative writing week, and I will see you next time. Take care.